Thanks. Vidya, you get involved in manufacture of circuits, electronic components, and the company does.
Yes.
And here we talk about customization, and just want to see how you guys are trying to manage cost, quality, and timeliness, lead times, and all that kind of. How are you reconfiguring, or what are you doing with your factory floor to build a product that has to meet very stringent requirements, robust products, essentially?
Right, and especially that question becomes all the more significant when as I mentioned, we have an active product line of more than 10,000. Many of which are on the catalog, but a lot of them which are also very specifically designed and built for the customers. And it creates an interesting mix on the factory floor. We have a lot of high volume, low mix, and low volume, high mix lines. Part of the manufacturing also happens in Brooklyn. Part of what we do in Brooklyn is the more sophisticated surface mount technology units using pick and place and dicing machines for PCB simulation. So based on the volumes of it, and this is what we've actually realized, that if you look at it, it kind of helps to isolate the major causes of your variation and the variability that you have. So let us say we have about 3 catalog models, which are our repeated ones, which is the foremost front runners, high volume ones. It would actually help to have dedicated lines for them. And like everything else, Pareto rule applies here too. You kind of notice that 80% of your causes for variability actually come from 20% of your product line. One of the ways we actually work with it is to have dedicated lines for our high volume, be it a customer special or be it a catalog model. Another thing that we also try and do, for example, is if we have certain products that we know are combination or can be thought of as combination of different sub-assemblies. So let us say we have a basic sub-assembly A, which after adding a few more components like capacitors and resistors and other circuits can be made a completely new product C. But then this sub-assembly A is also probably modified in a different way to make B, to make E, to make F. One of the things we've also tried to do is to analyze our product mix, analyze our products mix and see which are kind of the common denominator sub-assemblies that we can think of. So we try to have a minimum inventory of those so that when we have an order can either be built into product B or modified product C, product D. Those have been 2 of the ways in which we've been trying to cope with it.
What about designing robustness and the quality of the product, or in the design phase? Do you get to do that from a production floor? I mean, all the quality defect, everything shows up on the production floor, and then all of a sudden you got to fix it. How do you deal with that?
I think as an industrial engineer trained to optimize processes, this has been a cause that's very important to me, that quality is not just at the end product. And if you look at it, unfortunately, most of the standardized testing that even comes into picture is after the products are kind of made, have at least gone through half of the processes. One of the ways in which we do it, and we are very stringent in our company about it, we have preliminary design reviews as soon as we get any request from the customer. We have a stage where we build the engineering samples, prototypes, and then we have something called an engineering production run, after which we actually have a final design review before we even validate a design as ready to be mass-produced or produced under a production environment. And at each stage, quality assurance is involved.
Thank you. I have tons of other questions, but at this time I'd like to open to the floor.
So this panel is about the post-internet manufacturing floor, manufacturing process, and I was sort of listening to all of you and plugging in my own ideas about what that meant vis-a-vis what you're all doing, but I'd really be interested in hearing each of you or one of you or whoever wants to respond, like what your take is on what about what you're doing and your companies are doing is about the post-internet manufacturing floor.
I would like to add to what Rebecca said as well to answer your question. As I mentioned, it's not just about standards, but it's also, especially as our value chains are becoming global. Like our suppliers are not just in New York or United States, but all over the world. Our customers are not just in New York or United States, but all over the world. Many of our locations are across the globe in Europe, and as we try to give a product to our customers of standard quality, it becomes extremely essential to not only be able to communicate your visions and your product standards with your entire value chain, but also your process standards, your material standards, and in-process or post-process resolution of problems. So for a typical day-to-day activity of mine is problem resolution, and most of the times I am trying to talk with our facility in Israel because they're trying to troubleshoot something and they want to get our feedback on it. So I'm talking to them about what happens, and we are simultaneously probably carrying out different experiments to get insights and to solve and hopefully prevent these problems from occurring. That definitely is a post-internet thing because there is no 2-week wait or even a few-day wait. It's instantaneous and problems are being solved real time so that the defective products and losses we might have are not propagated further downstream, so that we might curb it wherever they occur and hopefully in the future even before that.